We want to say thank you to our sponsors, Watchman Cigars, 1812 Barbecue, Blue Collar Cycle Shop, Hook, Line, and Heroes, and our sponsor, Words of Hope. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Words of Hope. If you're like us, it's hard to get some time in the Word, and that's where Words of Hope comes into play. Words of Hope is a daily devotional podcast, and it brings a few minutes of comfort and hope into your day. Each episode includes a passage of Scripture, a thoughtful reflection, and a word of encouragement, as well as a prayer. Oh, goodness gracious. Sounds like I need a prayer tonight. And at only 5 minutes long, you can listen anywhere and anytime. Words of Hope is available wherever you get your podcasts, and I've been doing it as well. We're working on wisdom right now, so it's been helpful, encouraging, and inspiring. So we want to say thank you to our friends, Words of Hope. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's our take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, while you, the listener, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting from our Blue Collar Cycle studios right here in beautiful Concord, North Carolina. We've got a great show lined up for you, as always. But before we begin, let me introduce you to our starting lineup. Running on the field, it is our videographer, manning the chat, Magic Man.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Running the control deck, it is our producer Brian.
Hey guys.
And I, of course, be your host Biggun. And how about you? And across the way sits the pride of Anderson, South Carolina. But most of you probably know him best as the Silver Tongue won 2016's honorable mention Motorcycle Salesman of the Year, the inventor of the Redneck Egg Roll. Give it up on old mic number one. It's Mojo!
I'm not entirely sure who decided to bring up the Pharaoh and do a duel with him, but would y'all please stop the duel with the Pharaoh? Because I think we're on number 4 of all the
plagues,
the tests. Oh my goodness! Now we're in the midst of flooding.
You should have been doing your Words of Hope and doing your quiet time. I'm telling you that Popeye's chicken sandwich got us messed up. Appreciate you guys tuning in once again to the podcast. You can reach us on our Facebook page at Southern Fried Philosophy. You can also check out our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com. We do have our playable links there. Producer Brian does a great job doing show notes, links, et cetera, has our bios in there. You can also connect with us on the Twitters and Instagram at SFP Radio. Also, our Patreon link at patreon.com/SFP Radio, and also our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SFP Radio. And I'm sure there's many other ways to contact us. If you especially get angry at me, you can email me directly also. But we appreciate you guys. Yeah, if you want to also help support the show, check out our link at Patreon, patreon.com/SFP Radio. You can join in either a life, liberty, or gravy level. You can get some cool swag like hats and bumper stickers and T-shirts and all that kind of fun stuff. Or if you just want to give just for fun, that's great as well. And you get some extra content as well. So we appreciate you guys joining and helping in with Patreon. I'm going to ask you guys like I ask you every week. Oh, let me back up. Let me go through our checklist. We want to say, producer, I'm having a tough day today. Mojo, you talked about the YouTube subscribers. Producer Brian, I saw an additional one. I think we're at 24 now.
We're at 24? Okay. We're at 23 10 minutes ago when I looked.
Oh, maybe it's 23. All right. Yeah. So we need you guys to roll over.
So, yeah. We've
Go ahead and explain it.
Can't see the number in our Facebook chat. It's like 10 people maybe. So we're going to wait. We're just going to pause right now. And you guys just go to YouTube.
Not moving until you guys do it.
And just go ahead and subscribe. And then we'll start the show when you guys do that.
I got an idea. I'm gonna start playing Roblox on YouTube because it seems to be like the thing. Roblox channel.
I don't know what that means.
Because
there's an app, their game that you can play. The kids, it's like, you know how like we always look forward to getting the newest, latest, greatest Xbox or Nintendo or Sega that had the best graphics. Sega. Well, all the kids have now have gone back to like 8-bit block characters,
like Crossy Roads.
This is what the worse.
Wow, Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, so it's like Minecraft for blocks. We can do some of those. Tecmo Bowl was way better than this stuff. But yeah, we need to do some video.
Yeah, live stream some gaming. You know, people would subscribe to hear you cuss at the TV. That'd be great. Right?
Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic. I'd watch that. Hey, if you guys are staying at home and you have nothing else to do and you want to do your own podcast, contact producer Brian at Headlines at SFP Radio. He can get you hooked up. He can tell you kind of how to start a podcast, how to make it go, and all the fun technical stuff as well.
Yep.
We also want to say our listeners. So on our big RV map of the United States, we got some people to step up. We picked up South Dakota, West Virginia, Delaware, and Maine. So what we've got left is New Hampshire, Vermont, North Dakota, Wyoming, and Alaska. So if anybody knows anybody in those states, tell them to listen to the show. We would greatly appreciate it. If they want to tag you and say, hey, I listened to SFP because of so-and-so, hey, we'll give you a hat. I'll send it out. That'd be great. So anyway, we got New Hampshire, Vermont, North Dakota, Wyoming, and Alaska left to fill in the big RV map of the United States. And then we're going up to America's top hat and moving to Canada.
Do you think more people live in New Hampshire or North Dakota?
I would
think
New Hampshire.
Tiny little state, lots of people. Really big state, like 10 people, right?
Yeah, I would say New Hampshire as well. Yeah. I'm going to ask you, like I ask you guys every week, how you be darn? I'm going to go to Magic Man, getting straight off a conference call.
Exactly. A little flustered, but I'll tell you, it is good to be back amongst the living, man. Last week was no fun. Yeah. For those listening, I had Wednesday of last week, I was, or actually it would be the week before last by the time you hear this, I was diagnosed with pancreas, I can't ever say it.
Titus?
Easy for you to say.
Pancreatitis, yes. So I was in the emergency room. Hospital was a little different situation this time. There was hardly anybody there in the emergency room when I went. And, of course, they gave me the whole protocol to make sure I wasn't COVID infected.
Sure.
So when I walked in there, they actually had me go through a metal detector, kind of like the ones they had at the airport back in the day before 9/11.
Okay.
Before they had the things that you have to put your hands up and it scans you. This is the one where it's an actual metal detector. So I had to empty my pockets out, put everything in the tray, give it to the security guard, walk through the metal detector, and then he gave me my stuff back. So that was crazy.
To go just to the ER?
Just to get into the hospital, to the ER.
It's because they had a shooting there.
Oh, really?
About a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how about you?
And then, and while I was in there, they actually, this tells you how bad the pain was. They gave me morphine. It was about 30 to 45 minutes after I got into the little emergency room thing. And then about 10 minutes before I left, they gave me another dose because it had worn off. The original one had worn off. And I was only there for 3 hours. But I got to give kudos to, I know they used to be called Northeast Medical Center. I think they're like Atrium Cabarrus now is what they're called. People very friendly there. They, very, very nice. And they did a good job and got some medicine. And within 2 days, bam, good to go.
Wow. How about you? Producer Brian, how you be doing?
I'm good. I'm bored, I think.
I hate you people.
Yeah, it's like I haven't been bored for 8 weeks, to be clear, but I've had something to talk about ever since this happened. But earlier today I was like, it's raining. That's about it. But we do home shop because we were doing home shop before it was cool.
What's home shop? You had to.
Like, someone does your shopping for you at grocery shopping.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Harris Teeter is what we use.
Okay.
We've been doing it for years. Ever since I had a baby, we've been doing it because
it's fantastic.
Screaming kid, it's the best money you ever spend. But I think it's been a dicey situation lately. Like there's a lot of substitutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's teenagers working and they don't know what things are.
100%.
So I wanted some bratwurst because we're having, we're not even having a real birthday party, but my son is going to be 4 next week. And we're going to celebrate.
Congratulations.
So, we're having a cookout, but I want brats because.
Of course.
Brats, right? You can't find bratwurst. Apparently, they don't have bratwurst. So what?
Let me pause. What kind of mustard do you put on that brat?
I'm a brown usually, some kind of brown. Sometimes yellow. It depends on my mood or what's in the fridge. I'll go both directions. I'm not a mustard snob.
Okay.
Mustard and not anything else hardly. Maybe some grilled onions.
Oh yeah, now you're talking. Okay.
Yeah.
But, I like the one with the beer in it. I like the really
mustard.
Spicy one with horseradish in it. Hey,
I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I cook them in beer and then grill them. So, but
even better. Sorry,
that's the only way to make it. Anyway, so I want the Johnsonville. They're not cooked. There's like a 5-pack. It's a bratwurst.
Right.
The thing that we got as a substitution because they were out of the good ones is this it's like a cheddar wurst or something. It's pre-cooked. It's a fancy hot dog. Is what it is. It's not. It's. I don't even know. It's not. I'm not sure it's meat. It might be beyond like a Beyond Wurst or something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe you're helping Mojo.
But apparently, I searched online and you can't. They're hard to find right now. I guess it's because Johnsonville or maybe it's because Smithfield. All the meat plants are shut down from the virus. But that specific thing, I can't find like pizza dough and I can't get bratwurst or cauliflower. I don't know. I haven't been to a store in weeks, so I don't know what's actually there. Maybe they don't know what it looks like. That's my theory.
They just think it's a hot dog, and
they go, oh, this is a bratwurst. It must be a hot dog. So let me go. It's pre-cooked things,
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, the substitutions I'm getting are weird, and we just deny them, and then give me my stuff that I asked for. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Good try, Mojo. How you been doing?
As I mentioned in the opening, we've had it feels like 72 days of quarantine and probably 96 days of rain. So motorcycle business is not good in the rain. So but it's been a good pause though. We've got a chance to catch up a little bit. Get caught up on some old projects and stuff we've had in the shop for a while, but I might have to probably start selling jet skis or something here shortly if it don't stop raining. I looked at the forecast. I think it's supposed to rain every day for the next
until Wednesday.
Until school starts back in August or something. So
we'll be right for that.
Monsoon season.
It's kind of weird. I wanted to brag for a second. There's an online movement right now, and so I've since this whole. Since the shutdown, the churches kind of shut down, everything like that. We've had to go more to online communities and stuff. I keep saying, it should be a drinking game for the night. So,
there's the SFP bingo.
I know that may not.
Ready.
Yeah. I'm already about too deep. So, anyway, I may not be everybody's brand of Christian. That's kind of how I probably should have that on my business card. Good. Just because of how I look and probably how I act in front of a lot of people. But anyway, I connected to this online community, which has been very inspirational. But it's a company out of Florida, and they're doing these bracelets. I'll show you right here. Remember the old WWJD?
Yeah, it had 6 colors.
Yeah, well, they answered the question.
Oh.
I don't know if you see that, HWLF.
I got to write it down.
HWLF.
Can I buy a vowel?
Oof.
He would love first. I thought that was pretty cool for the answer for that. So,
is there a WWJD underneath it too?
Yeah.
Do you have the order right though?
It don't matter.
No.
It depends how you look at it. But no, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And it kind of brought back memories of wearing those things back in high school.
So retro now.
But so we've been driven to online communities and to get inspiration from where we can. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm not getting paid by these guys or anything like that. I just spent the $7, got a couple bracelets, and also the community kind of goes along with it. It's just an interesting topic, conversation starter for people. And
yeah, no doubt.
But that's in a nutshell. So, but no, things are great. Family's good. Still Rona free. You still can't buy toilet paper. Now we're out of Johnsonville brats. So yeah, it's just the apocalypse is around the corner.
Oh no!
Mama always told me the rapture was going to take place. I didn't think it'd take place in the Harris Teeter, but yeah.
I have noticed North Carolina getting ready to go to phase 2. I don't even know what that means, but we're about ready to launch it already.
You can get a haircut.
This Wednesday.
That's all that matters.
Today's Thursday. Sorry. On the way to go pick up Hot Pocket and Small Batch, I noticed a dramatic increase of traffic. Like all of a sudden now there is a ton of people on the road. Going down to pick them up on the interstate, 2 major accidents, and it was backed up for forever. I almost kind of liked it when everybody was staying back at home and I was driving around. That was fantastic. There was no traffic. I can get to A to B in like 15 minutes, back to C, or so like. But now people are getting out, and I kind of don't like it, to be honest with you. It's not.
Well, I do. I mean,
yeah, you're in the transportation business.
No, but still, my commute every day is 64 miles around. Around
gravy.
So, it's been that's one thing when this whole first thing started, panic sets in for me because you look at the economics of it, less cars, less people spending money, less people getting paid. So, phase 2, and for those listeners not in North Carolina, phase 2 is kind of like just a lame extension of phase 1 in North Carolina. So a lot of these governors, dictators, commandants, whatever you want to call them, have decided to pick the winners and losers of industry. So, people have often criticized in pretty much every state. You'll have the local person that may sell baby clothes has a specialty boutique, can't open due to the Rona, but Walmart's is open and has a baby section. So you can go in there, get your groceries, your tires, and your baby clothes. But the lady who invested her life savings to open a baby boutique can't remain open. So phase 2 now, we're entering this as of Friday. If you're on Facebook Live, it'll be tomorrow here in North Carolina at 5 o'clock. I don't know why they have to have some kind of arbitrary number at time. You think it'd be the beginning of the day, but obviously Roy Cooper must be smarter than us. Coincidentally, he's been getting his hair cut. He's the only person in the state of North Carolina whose hair's not grown any. It remains cut. I wonder where he's getting his hair cut at. So phase 2, basically beauty salons. I think massage therapists fall in that category. Restaurants can open up to 50% capacity. So instead of restaurateurs only losing 100% of proceeds, they only get to lose 50% of proceeds now. So that's good. I'm glad the governor can decide to do that. But friends like ours at certain breweries cannot open because they do not serve food. They're classified as a bar. So bars must remain closed under this. Also gyms, and there's a few other things that have to remain closed under this. But barbers, hair salons, things like that can't open. But you can imagine everybody's got their Corona haircut or new hairdos right now, so that you won't be able to get an appointment with one of these guys for months.
Probably. I got the baby mullet growing myself right here.
Oh my gosh! Look at that thing.
I use a Camaro.
Yes, that's right.
I rock.
I'm not saying I got
El Camino. Yeah,
I got a back alley black market haircut this week because it was just getting too bad. So,
let's not share the source.
No,
we don't want that.
I'm not going to share the source.
If you can't get a haircut, you sign up to
the
Patreon, you get a hat, and you don't need a haircut, right?
That's it. There you go.
But how sad is this? A person who's not licensed, who may have gone to cosmetology school and dropped out, knows the basics of hair cutting, can actually cut hair. But someone who has a license, has had years in the business, has spent thousands of dollars in equipment, going to seminars and learning this and that, cannot operate because in fear of losing their license. Right. How fair is that?
I don't know, again, do they not realize that there's the magical blue liquid that they put their combs in? Evidently, that sterilizes everything.
Scope or something, right?
It's scope.
I don't know why we didn't use that for the Corona, because it does sterilize everything. So
yeah, so I don't understand that.
I don't know. The more and more, phase 3 is not supposed to happen until middle of June. They're saying, which permits our friends who have breweries and small bars and things like that to open up. So I don't know. The longer this drags on, the more infuriating I get. Just speaking to a friend of mine in South Carolina, his business. I mean, they have been deemed essential by the state governor there in South Carolina, but just like all the law of economics, his business may not be right on the cusp of an essential need. It's still a want. It's still something that people have to add on and
Can you share what kind of business it is?
I prefer not to, just in case. But that business, he can message me if he wants to. I can share it. But they've seen a drastic cut. He's not been paid in weeks due to the fact that they have no customers coming in.
Yeah.
So, it's just when I hear personal stories like that, I got so many personal people that I know, small business owners to employees that have been affected by this. I get more and more angry. I don't care what they're right now. A new stat just came out. They're predicting over 75,000 suicides related to economic downturn in the next 3 months. That's more than Corona does.
Well, and I think that we have to understand, like, there's two types of sick people. As soon as the government said that a business is a person, there's now that doubles the number of sick people, right? Because the coronavirus is impacting folks, but if a business is a person, that's also dying as well. And we've got to fix we can't move forward in this country without the economy moving, without it going. And we can't just we're making it more sick by not getting back to work and letting people do their jobs and getting it going. It's going to take longer than I think that people realize to get it moving. And why don't we just open it up, let her eat? The people that are susceptible to getting sick, stay home. It's okay. We're not forcing you to go to church. We're not forcing you to go do these things. If you're susceptible, stay home. That's okay. But you've got to get the people back to work. These phases, just come on, just let her eat. Just open it up and go.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, what you're talking about is basically the same approach that Sweden took early on with this, was that they put their susceptible population under, a more of a, not really, a voluntary lockdown, but they asked them to stay home. And, people that were not susceptible, they could, keep going. If they got sick, wherever they quarantined, they did the contact tracing and everything kind of seemed to go. But no, we have pretty much, I don't know. Hopefully we never have to see anything like this again in our lifetime, because we
cannot do this again.
Right now, you can go back. Anybody wants to, they can go back and actually listen to Senator Kennedy. Just was on the floor the other day. Representative from, I think, Louisiana. I don't quote me on that. Anyway, he gave it a passionate speech about we had to borrow $3 trillion in security bonds to the feds to pay for the stimulus that came through. Okay. Well, there's also going to be an additional cost of another $3 trillion on top of that. So now we're $6 trillion in the hole due to the coronavirus. But that's more tax dollars than we take in a given year. So there's no easy digging us out of this hole anytime soon, except to have some type of, reemergence back into our economy again. That way we can get things going again.
Absolutely. We got to get it moving. So one of the ways I'm using my stimulus money is investing in the stock market, which I think that'd be a great idea, right? So we're going to give you Biggun's stock tip of the week. So this is where I've been dabbling in the stock market with the Robinhood app. There will be that information on our show notes if you want to try your hand at it. It's pretty fun. I invested this week in Alibaba. If you're not familiar with it, I got it just because it was fun to say. But it is
that the Taliban or something?
It basically, I'm funding the Taliban. I think that's what it is. No, it's basically the Amazon of China. So is that about right, Mojo?
No, Alibaba is. No, Alibaba is. No, I think that's pretty good. I think Alibaba is the Amazon, but it's Amazon of the world. For example, if you decide that you want 700 pairs of figurines that look like the Tiger King, they would connect you with. It would connect you with someone who makes figurines in China. That way you can buy bulk orders. Now, Alibaba does have one called AliExpress, which is basically instead of having to buy, like for example, me, if I wanted to buy like motorcycle accessories, like let's say sunglasses. Now I can go to Alibaba and I can buy bulk orders of 10 20,000 units at a time. AliExpress connects you where you can actually buy maybe 1 to 25 sets, pairs, things like that.
Right, so you're saying I can get a Producer Brian action figure?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll connect you with people either in China, but also they actually work with manufacturers in like Pakistan or Pakistan, as Obama used to say, and India, Vietnam, other countries that have like those type of facilities that can, put you with.
The one warning I'll give you is evidently, so it's a Chinese company. The Senate has declared that if you're going to be on the New York Stock Exchange, you've got to release your numbers. You got to have full transparency and follow the same rules as those companies that are in the U.S. And you have to disclose that you're not in the U.S. So that one, it really kind of took a nosedive once that information came out. But I think it's still a smart play. I think in the long run, it's gonna pull out. It's gonna be fine. But it is an expensive stock, though. I will say that. I bought 2 shares at $211, and 2 days later, my return of $4.30, a profit of 1%. How about you? Thank you.
Yeah, but I think I can't remember what Alibaba's initial IPO was. I think it was like $29, $30, something like that. I mean, it'd be sitting at $212. It's you always joke about how you have American quality products and you have Chinese quality products. I mean, what's Amazon stock
at
like
right
2000.
Now? Like it's
2000. So basically, yeah, I think Alibaba's probably. I'm not a stock advisor, so don't take my tips and don't invest your whole stimulus check or whatever your inheritance in it. But I'm saying that if I think it could be undervalued once the Chinese economy gets cranking again and Americans' economy. Because Americans, I mean, we'll have short-term lived memory from this as far as, a lot of people are looking like, let's just move everything back to America. But we still want, the law of economics, we still want cheap goods. And they're going to come from overseas.
Yeah. One thing that I did want to bring up, and I don't know if you guys have seen or even paid attention to how many people have been passing away, and not necessarily due to the coronavirus, but there are a ton of celebrities. I remember a couple of years ago we did the Summer of Death, where it was like celebrities were dropping like flies. But when I look at the list already, we're 5 months, 21 days into 2020, and good gracious, the list is already exhausting. This past week, Ken Osmond, he was Eddie Haskell. He passed away. Did you guys see that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Eddie. It's not my generation show, even though I watch reruns of Leave It to Beaver. Before Days of Our Lives at my grandparents' house, that was kind of combos of shows. My grandfather had to watch the stories, but Eddie Haskell was the people, how we say, like, if you want to search something on the internet, you say Google, or, you cut your leg, you have to put a Band-Aid on it. These are all brand names. Eddie Haskell was the name brand villain at that time, where, people he came into the count, the subculture as far as don't be an Eddie Haskell or this and that. So, it's a pretty big icon of that era to pass away.
Fred Willard. Goodness gracious, he passed away. He was hilarious, by the way.
The best of show.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't know that?
Just very dry, pan humor.
Play the straight man like none other. So he passed away. Jerry Stiller passed away.
I saw that one.
Ben Stiller's dad. Yeah.
Little Richard.
I didn't know he was still alive. I hate to be mean, but
Roy Horn from Siegfried and Roy. He passed away.
Via Tiger?
The original Tiger King.
Tom Lester, he was from Green Acres. Also, again, not part of our generation, but also...
I watched that show.
Did you?
Yeah, Nick at Night, baby.
Brian Dennehy.
Yeah.
Chris Farley's dad.
Oh, wow.
And Tom.
Cocoon.
Chris Farley's dad in Tommy Boy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Not his actual father.
Like, oh, no.
I think he was in the latest episodes of Blacklist on the NBC.
Oh, was he?
Oh. I've seen
that. Shirley Douglas, it's Kiefer Sutherland's mom. Acellus Marlis, he's a jazz musician. And I'm scrolling through, and there's people, I have no idea who they are, but...
Who's the jazz musician?
I gotta go back. Ellis Marsalis.
Okay, wow.
Kenny Rogers, remember? He passed away. James Lipton from the Actor Studio.
Oh, I love when Will Ferrell did his little spiel on Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah.
James Lipton had the best Grecian formula number 5 hair formula pattern.
And the perfect pencil mustache too.
Yeah.
Kirk Douglas, he passed away.
Wow.
Fred.
He was like 103 or something like that.
He was 103. 103.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Fred Silverman, he played on Hill Street Blues, All in the Family, and Soap. And then James Lear, PBS news anchor. And then, can you believe, even just this year, it was Kobe. Kobe passed away. Like, I totally forget that Kobe passed away.
Yeah.
With all the stuff.
This is 2020.
That's not at all an exhaustive list of everybody that's passed, but those are the most notables, I think.
Those are the famous ones, right?
Yeah, the famous of the famous ones, yeah. It's just like, holy cow, like, we're 5 months into this. So, I'm a little...
Watch your back if you're a celebrity. Yeah. Oh, Joe Diffie, the country singer.
Oh, that's right.
He passed too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Producer Brian, you had something else you wanted to share?
Yeah, so our great president gifted us with a soundbite today.
Ooh, I like it.
I have to play it for you guys and get your reactions. So,
perfectly this morning.
Hold on.
Said very positively in another sense. So this morning, I tested positively toward negative, right? So no, I tested perfectly this morning. Meaning I tested negative. But that's the way of saying it. Positively toward the negative.
What? What?
Remember George Bush's one? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
Hey, fool me again.
Shame on you.
Fool me again. Oh, so positively, negatively tested positive.
Yeah, it was just a confusing. That's the problem with the stuff coming out of the White House right now is you don't know what's actually being said.
You have no idea. It's so confusing.
I don't know. It's just funny. I just thought it was.
Sure.
I heard it and went, okay, that's funny. I need to. It's on my soundboard now. So.
Well. Yeah. No, and it should be.
I like how the best part of that was he actually had to. He felt compelled to re-explain it to the reporters because it would be reported wrong anyway. So he felt compelled to re-explain his conversation. Yeah, I mean, he also took a hit in the media this week for taking hydrochloroquine for the past 5 weeks as a preventative measure for
did he get that confused with Hydrox and Harley Quinn, you think?
I don't think so. But he took a big beating on that. It's how ironic where it's my body, my choice on certain issues, but someone wants to take hydroxychloroquine. That's you can't take that. That's toxic to your body.
I love like Pelosi is getting mad at him for taking it, but
yeah.
But like if it kills you, isn't that what you want to begin with anyway? Like you've been saying the whole time you want the president gone. That'll do it. Just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Let him do his thing. It's crazy. So we'll go into some wacky news brought to you by 1812 Barbecue. Again, Eric is still cranking out some fantastic beef, brisket, pork. So if you would like some of that with some delicious sides, check out our friends at 1812 Barbecue.
I wonder if he has any sausages, because I could use some of those.
Maybe he can get you some brats.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I like it. We've documented on the show multiple times where we thought that and proven that math is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I figured out how we can work on our math. Earlier this year, a first-time academic author published a new mathematical study in the Journal of Research in Number Theory. The twist? The researcher, Christopher Havens, was also serving a 25-year sentence in the Washington Department of Corrections following a murder conviction. Right. Chemist and Professor Marta Caruta's partner received a request from Havens for an annual subscription to the Princeton-based journal Annals of Mathematics.
Sorry, what?
Now, there's a joke there, and I'm just going to leave it because this is a family show. And it happens that Caruti's father is a number theorist who is willing to take the chance on Havens, who is trying to teach himself calculus and number theory without any access to a qualified teacher. To test him, he gave Havens a problem to solve, and he returned it back, and it was a 120 centimeter long piece of paper with a long, complicated formula on it, and to his surprise, the result was correct. So Ceruti, who was a professor of mathematics at the University of Italy, is one of the authors on Havens' paper, which is titled Linear Fractional Transformations and Nonlinear Leaping Convergence of Some Continued Fractions. I almost fell asleep reading that paper, reading the title of that. Number theory is the study of integers and what integers can do. It's part of a discrete mathematics which examines countable numbers like integers rather than continuous topics like calculus. I have no idea what most of that means. In their paper, Havens, Caruti, and two other mathematicians study a linear transformation of an infinite continued fraction and draw conclusions from their findings.
Show title.
Do what? I'm sorry?
Show title.
Yep.
That's right.
Then they apply those findings back to famous continued fractions. Now, I love this one. Havens told Caruti that he went through his prison's intensive transition program. He says, quote, "It's designed to effectively aid you into taking your head from your backside, which it did. This was my schedule. Eat, math, remove my head from my backside, brush, rinse, repeat. That was an important time in my life." With a scholarly publication under his belt and about 16 more years to his sentence, Havens has an opportunity to grow his mathematical talents. Y'all, dude didn't know math, taught himself math. Now he's writing papers in some magazine. I have no idea what it means. That's pretty intense.
Math was the reason why I Van Wildered in college. Crammed 4 years of college. 4 years of college into 5.5.
Producer Brian, your face is just, hey, buddy.
I don't know half the words you just said.
I don't know either.
So I'm assuming you pronounced them right.
I don't know. I'm guessing at this point.
Yeah, this bourbon's hitting pretty hard because I just completely blanked out the whole time you were talking about the math stuff. I kept thinking about Walter White for some reason because you say he was a convicted murderer.
Yeah,
or something, right? Okay, I started thinking about Breaking Bad, and then I got distracted thinking about that show.
Oh, was that it?
Yes. He was a science teacher and did some
teacher.
Yeah, dissolved a dude in acid or something, that kind of thing. That's what I was thinking about. Anyway,
the 1812 barbecue story started over 20 years ago when Eric and his dad started entering local barbecue competitions for fun. During that time, Eric, a United States Marine, has traveled all over the world, picking up flavors and techniques that today is the unique flavor of the award-winning 1812 barbecue. He has honed his craft to bring you fall-off-the-bone pulled pork, mouth-watering ribs, and finely crafted beef brisket. Eric has developed his own amazing dry rub and delicious barbecue sauce. And let's not forget the sides: coleslaw, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, cowboy baked beans, and to top it all off, banana pudding and pecan pie for dessert. Getting hungry yet? Good. Call or email Eric at 1812barbecue and he can make your next catered meal happen. Wedding and graduation parties, family reunions, and other events will be memorable with 1812 barbecue. Want to try your own hand at smoking meats? Pick up your own 1812 dry rub and start the journey for yourself. Shipping all over the world, connect with Eric on his Facebook page, Instagram at 1812 barbecue, or call 704-604-5148, or email Eric at eric.line@1812barbecue.com, and he'll be glad to help any way he can.
Well, just in case if people don't know, Amanda Lemon is Ryan Lemon's wife. Much more than that, by the way, but we'll get into that. Ryan was on the show earlier, a couple weeks ago, from Kentucky Sports Radio, and he told us that Amanda has an amazing story, which we'll get into, about being part of the foster care system and growing up in that. I have got two foster kids, so this is going to hit home to me. But one thing that he did say starting off the interview was that he's a beer drinker. But Amanda, you are the bourbon drinker. Is that right?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Please do not hold it against me. I am one of those girls that when we go to, yes, I'm having a glass of Chardonnay because I wanted to pace myself so that I did not blabber.
I understand.
Probably. Yes.
I didn't do that.
So I am a single batch Four Roses type of
Okay. I was going to ask, that was the first question out.
Yes, that is my forte. So if I'm going out, I'm having a single batch Four Roses.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I love me some Woodford, but I'm a single batch Four Roses type
Just
girl.
for you tonight, Amanda, I pulled out the Cream of Kentucky.
I have never had that. Is that good?
Hey, it's good. It's really good.
Yes. I'm from Eastern. I'm more of a moonshine type girl.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
To be honest with you, I'm a 606 type girl. If we're talking alcohol, I'm more of a 606 type girl.
606, by God.
I'm a moonshine type girl. But if we're talking bourbon, I'm a single batch. I actually met the person who, literally, my story is from poverty to princess, if you want to go that way. So we'll get into that in a second. Sure. But I actually met the founder of Four Roses, and I'm sorry, yes, and he was explaining to me how this all works, and then I met the person who from China who runs it now.
Oh wow!
And she barely spoke English at the time, and she just kept giving it to me at a derby party.
Oh wow!
And I do not remember all of that evening. I'll be honest with you. But at the same time, bourbon was our language. Isn't that crazy?
Absolutely.
Bourbon was our language because she did not communicate, but we knew that she knew she was in Kentucky, and she knew that's how we can communicate. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
She knew that that's how we communicate effectively, essentially.
Yeah.
So
well,
it was really cool.
Mojo and I, we went to Four Roses. We did the Bourbon Trail last year, and to be honest, Four Roses, to me, the tour, everything was shut down, so they were doing their cleaning and whatnot. It wasn't that great, but a little tip that somebody told me was at the very end where they do their tastings, you ask them, what's behind the counter? I know there's something behind there. Let me have some of that. And the lady was like, all right. And she waited till everybody else left. We had a group of 6, and she's pouring the last little bit of that bottle out.
Yeah.
And that was some really good stuff. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
And I will never forget that Derby party because it is one for the record books. Like, I have, one for the record books.
Nice. Well, Amanda, you started off your career as producer at WLEX.
Actually, that I was an intern.
Okay.
So I started out. Let me kind of rewind. I started out as an intern at WLEX. Okay. I was driving from college every day at Eastern Kentucky University.
Oh, wow.
Go Colonels! Yes, go Colonels! So I started out driving every day from EKU, and I kind of made a name for myself, and I was a tape editor.
Okay.
So, I don't know how much you know about journalism, but they are essentially the grunts of the world. They're just kind of in there, So I was editing tape, and the next thing you know, I worked my way up, and one of the reporters literally quit one day, just absolutely said, I'm done.
And you said,
she said she's done.
That's a great idea for me to step up.
Ryan went out with me because he knew I wanted to be a reporter and shot a story about the Backstreet Boys. He shot a story with me about a church, and he shot a story about, I think it was about something crazy. I can't remember. It was something crazy. There were 3 stories. He shot a story, and I had given it to the news director. And he came to me that night and he said, do you want to seriously be a reporter? And I said, absolutely. And he goes, you start tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, literally, I'm like, okay, are you serious? And he said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, absolutely. Ryan did the sweetest thing. He got me a notebook, got me a Mountain Dew. I'm from Eastern Kentucky, of course, I'm drinking Mountain Dew. And he got me a chocolate bar. So I started reporting literally at the age of 22 years old in a top 50 market without any, I had no qualms. I had no thoughts about it. No one had told me this is what you do. I'm starting with Nancy Cox, Kevin Christopher, and I just literally stepped out of the gate. My first story was on EKU's Roy Kids anniversary win.
Oh, wow.
I mean, literally insane. My first story was about EKU, which is where my alma mater.
Sure.
And I could not believe it was insane. It was insane. So I was very thankful, very blessed to do that. And I thought to myself, this is insane. From a girl from Eastern Kentucky who, in the backstory behind that, I'm going to cry. My backstory behind that is no one knew that when I was going home, I was eating rice. And my meal those nights I was eating a thing of rice, and I was eating, to make it taste better, rotel tomatoes and mushrooms, because that's all I could afford, because I still was struggling as a college student. I graduated from college like 4 months before. So, and when Ryan and I mean, that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just making waves. And then all of a sudden I'm on TV just 4 months later. So it was a blessing in disguise. So
wow.
I went from poverty to fame in mere months. So it was really neat. And then I went to Hurricane Katrina, and I ended up staying down there for 2 weeks, which is absolutely insane, and a story that will stay with me for the rest of my life. The only reason why we left Hurricane Katrina, we were supposed to be down there for months. The only reason why we left is we were in a head-on collision. We were sitting in a truck and getting ready to pull out. And the only car, I've been in with 2 car wrecks, but this is the worst one that I've ever been in.
Wow.
We were in a satellite truck, and we were pulling out, and the truck a car hit us head on in a satellite truck. I'm sure you've seen those big trucks that people were in, that carry the news back in the day. And it destroyed the satellite truck. And it was so bad that I hit the windshield and hit my head and had a concussion. They took us to the hospital. But in Hurricane Katrina, normally what would have been me staying in the hospital for weeks, they gave me 2 Advil because that's all they could spare, and sent me home. And then we drove home. my other reporter, because I was down there producing at the time, my other reporter, myself, and the photographer, we drove home and then came up here and were taking care of here because the damage was so bad there.
Wow. That's crazy.
Like, we didn't even get medical care there. We didn't even get medical care there. And my back to this day still hurts from that because we didn't receive medical care there.
We didn't have.
I could tell you, I could sit here and talk for days about that experience. Yeah.
You didn't have pancreatitis during COVID, so there's that.
Yeah. And then, yeah, exactly.
Well, and so you did the, you were the anchor, and then you became the producer.
Yeah. Yes, I produced for after I was a reporter for 3 years, I was a TV producer for right around 11, 12 years. So I produced everything. Nancy Cox, the queen of TV in Lexington, one of my greatest friends, and Kevin Christopher is a hoot. And I tell you what, Bill Mack can ruin a newscast. The thing that producers get lost in is they are the brains behind broadcasting. I'm writing what the anchors say. So I am the brains behind them. Well, Bill Mack would come up with a thunderstorm in Iville that's about this big, and it's going to produce rain for 5 minutes and ruin everything that you've got to say. It's going to affect one trailer, but it's in Bill Mack's mind, we call it weather woodies.
Oh, wow. How about you?
Yeah. So it's going to ruin everything. So we would say those things.
That's funny. So what made the switch from producer to mortgage officer?
So, you know what? Honestly, I had a person in the mortgage business, Brian May, who had been asking me for numerous years because he saw my attention to detail, saw the fact that I was a go-getter, and he wanted me to be his assistant and saw that I could eventually go into go out into the mortgage world. Sorry,
no problem.
That's my phone right now.
Mortgage.
No, mortgage business. He saw that I could go into that, and he had asked me for numerous years to come follow him and be behind him. And one day, after Ryan had gone on his way, we adopted, goes back to adoption. We adopted Michael.
Okay.
And I could not go to one of his games. And Ryan had gone on to do his thing, and it got to the point where I couldn't go to his games. And we knew we were going to adopt Josiah, and we knew that at some point we needed to have a family where I had the flexibility to be able to do that because KSR was blowing up.
Sure.
No one knew that KSR was going to do what it did.
Right.
I mean, we thought this was going to be just a regular situation. No one knew. And it was blowing up, and I could not be henpecked to snowstorms at 9 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't be doing
right.
that. In Andy's words, you can't be doing that. I just couldn't be doing that. So I decided that I needed flexibility and able to make the same salary. So he offered me that affordability, and that's where I went from there. And then he taught me what I knew. And then there's a lady, her name is Angela Poindexter, who took me in and just taught me all this crazy business, and I took off from there. So,
wow. What are some, just as a mortgage officer,
I'm gonna take a drink of wine.
Do it, yeah. What are some behind the scenes things that would some of our listeners who maybe getting ready to buy a house, getting ready to sell a house? What are some behind the scenes things you may want to tell them?
Oh my gosh. The first thing that I would tell anyone is you absolutely need to know your credit score. Know your credit. And if you don't know your credit score, that's where you need to hit me up. Okay. That's where you need to absolutely hit me up. And one of my fortes is credit repair.
Okay.
One of my fortes, I had a client who came to me. She's actually moving from Michigan to here, and she is on Social Security, and she's buying an amazing house in Madison County.
Wow.
And I was able to take her credit score from a 579 to a 650 in about 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. Come on with it.
Without her going through that, you got to do this, credit repair and whatnot, because that is my forte. That's my thing.
Okay.
That's my secret weapon in life is credit repair. You need to know your credit score. You need to pay your bills on time. I know that seems like a normal concept for most people. You need to pay your bills on it, but not everybody can. Yeah. But there are ways that we can work with that. So, but if you have any questions, I'm sure you'll drop my information. Yeah. But I'm always available for questions. And you know what? A mortgage checkup is free.
Okay, good to know.
Mortgage information is free. Anytime you need some question about your credit, it's free. If someone says that you need to pay them for credit information, that's wrong.
Okay.
You do not need to pay for credit information.
Good to know.
That's wrong. Yeah.
All right. And just so you know, we're in North Carolina.
Okay.
Would you be able to still help?
Sure, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Use promo code Biggun and
yes, girl. Yeah.
Well, Amanda, we started talking to Ryan. I'm a huge fan of Kentucky basketball, huge fan of KSR.
Yeah,
you can see that on the little thing back there.
I see that back there.
Huge fan, but
we are not all Kentucky fans.
Why are you not a UK fan? Talk to me about that.
All
right. So there's this little game where I don't know if you remember this player by the name of Leitner.
You know what? I've heard of him. I pray for him.
We all do.
What you're drinking Mick Ultra? I can't respect you.
This is the white guy White Claw.
You know what? I can't respect you. You said Leitner and you're drinking Ultra. So now
hold on.
So the 606 in me is coming out now because you're drinking the White Claw and you said Leitner. So now we're not cool.
Well, hold on. I had a heart transplant. I can't drink distilled liquor anymore.
Well, so God bless you. Okay, God bless you. Right. But you're still you said Leitner and you're drinking Ultra.
I stand behind the Leitner comment. The white guy, White Claw. I have no excuses for that.
That's what makes this show interesting, Amanda. I'm a Kentucky fan. He's a Duke fan. So it
and we can't. What about Matt Jones? All that being, I think he secretly is like somewhat a closet Duke man. You know what? Somewhat shoots for them a little bit. Yeah. You know what?
Well, he went to Duke, so you can kind of maybe see that.
Well, it's like Jay Billis. Mm-hmm. I think he has one of those. What was it? The mortgage woodies you call it?
Weather woody.
Weather woody. He's got a weather woody for Kentucky.
So I promise you, the next time you see, here's how you know when someone has a weather woody. Mm. When they come out and they roll up their sleeves, and you'll see this. Okay. And you'll be like, oh my God, Amanda's right. They roll up their sleeves and they come out and they get all excited. You're like, weather woody. Yep.
That's it. That is Jay Billis for Kentucky. So.
You know what? You're a hater.
Amanda, you are and always forever will be. No matter what happens with Matt, you will always be the first lady of KSR.
Aw, thank you. That's so sweet.
What is it like to have that title just in your normal everyday life? Does it impact you at all, or?
You know what? There is a little bit of pressure on me for that because I jokingly went up and put on makeup and changed my shirt for just this appearance. I did. There is a little bit of pressure about being quote unquote the first lady of KSR. There is a little bit of pressure about that.
And it's gotta be weird because this is the first time you've ever seen me.
Yeah.
But I've watched your Periscopes, I see you and Ryan interact. I hear you on the show. So it must be weird to just walk down the street and people say, "Oh, did you hear what Ryan said today?" Or they know so much about you, but you have no idea who that person is.
True. But you know what? I take it all in stride and I understand. The weirdest thing is when people come to my kids, like Josiah, our youngest son, who's the big athlete, when people come up, we were sitting at a game this summer because he's a really good basketball player. And I was sitting behind him and they didn't realize I was his mom. And they're like, that's Ryan Lemon's kid on the court. Now that's the weird stuff when they're watching my kids play, which they're watching him, one, because he was a good athlete, but two, because he's Ryan Lemon's kid. Yeah. Now that's the weird stuff that happens that is awkward, and then, I find myself I'm okay with them looking at me, but when you're looking at my kids, that's awkward, Yeah.
Any inside baseball that you want to give us about KSR? Like, I know Ryan's kind of limited.
I can tell you so many secrets.
Yeah, I think you need to spill the tea.
Spill the tea.
Yeah.
Spill the tea. I am so excited about Drew and Abby.
Right?
I can tell you that secret. I'm so excited. They bought a house.
Mm-hmm. I saw the pictures.
Yes, it's beautiful. They bought a house. They were supposed to get married in New York.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yes, they were supposed to get married in New York. There's tea on that. They were supposed to get married in New York, but COVID prevented that. So, so there's tea on that. Here's tea on Ryan and I. We have been trying to put in a pool for 3 months.
3 months? Good gracious.
Yes. We cannot, and no one will put our pool in.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Because
I know that's first world problem. That's first world problems. Right. Okay. Here's some other tea. Godson is one of the UK recruits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say who.
Okay.
I'm not going to say who.
Okay. I think he spilled a little bit of
that
tea.
Can I tell him? No. Big Hill Credits.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's our Godson.
How about it? How excited are you on that?
Oh my God. I cried. I didn't get to go to the ceremony because I wasn't feeling well, but he's my God.
Wow.
Our other, you've heard of Dane Key, who's the other UK recruit. That's Ryan's best friend's son.
Yeah. Now, he was talking about Dane on the show, and so he doesn't feel 100% confident about him picking Kentucky.
You know what, though? His mom is not. Nicole is my best friend. We're going on vacation in 3 weeks together.
Okay.
Nicole is not going to. She didn't let Devin go very far.
Gotcha.
She's not going to let him go very far.
So it's not going to be Louisville.
Okay. And then Jagger Burton was here the other day, and he's feeling comfortable about UK too.
Okay. We got a good class coming in.
So there's a little tea. There's your tea for the day.
I know Matt frustrates you sometimes.
Yeah.
Just let her rip.
Matt is like my brother.
Sure.
Matt is like my brother. We have that brother-sister relationship. Mm-hmm. Here's an example. We are in, where were we? Me and you, and we're in the car, and you and Matt are going at it, and I just shushed him. Where were we? We're in the car, and I just shush him. I've been like, just stop talking.
Just stop.
Just stop talking. I just tell him to shut up. I'm like, just don't talk. And you know what? Sad. He listens to me because I'm from the 606, and you don't talk to women like that from there.
No, you don't.
And you know what's so sad? His mother loves me. She thinks I walk on the moon. Yes, she loves me. His mother loves me. We were at lunch. Here's tea.
Okay.
We were at lunch with his mother one day, and his mother, myself, Matt, and Ryan were there. He starts talking, and his mother's like, Matthew, you've said enough.
Uh-oh.
He stopped talking and didn't say another word the rest of lunch.
Oh, he loves his mama.
No. Yeah.
He does.
Oh, no. He's the mama's boy.
100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of family, let's talk about yours.
Oh, my boys or live or
whatever you want, but we're going to kind of transition to your story, your family.
Sure. Okay. So currently we're going to go with children in our house and not the bonus ones. Sure. We'll go with children in our house. We have 3 boys. Gavin is 22, and I always say the wrong place he works for. He is in Atlanta, Georgia. It's not Pixar. It is Pinewood Studio. And what studio does he work for?
Marvel.
He works for Marvel Comics.
I know this. I know this as well. So
Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. Okay, Marvel Studios. Okay, you know that. Okay, so he works for Marvel. He's actually coming tomorrow with his fiance, Erin, who is the sweetest person in the world. She works with horses. She's perfect. She's awesome. And then there's Michael, who is 17. He currently works at McDonald's. Okay. We made him get a job, so teach him responsibility. And then there's Josiah, who is, our perfect child. Perfect child. And Ryan's perfect child.
And those are all adopted.
Every one of them are adopted. And I had someone say something smart to me the other day. Well, you don't know what it's like. And I was like, she kind of had a condescending tone with me. And I was like, well, you don't know.
They don't. What was the context of that? You don't know what's like.
So she, I think it was a racial context, and then I showed her the picture of my children. And then so I deal with low to moderate income folks.
Okay.
So, that is my job, is low to moderate income folks. And my job is to make them feel as important as possible and make everyone feel the same. And I never, with my family being every different color, I think I have a different perspective than most people do, because one son is Hispanic, one son is Indian, Gavin is Cherokee Indian, and one son is Black and Hawaiian. I check all boxes. I mean, if I'm going down the racial box, I check them all.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. So, like, I wanted to make her feel as comfortable as possible, and I think that's why I do my job so well, is because I make everyone feel comfortable. So, but I made her. By the time we left, she gave me her phone number and asked me to dinner.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you grew up, from what Ryan said, in the foster care system.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
So this is very dramatic. You may want to pour yourself a drink.
Here we go. I got you.
Everybody have a drink? Okay. So when I was 7 years old, my father... I tell this story, and I don't want you to think that I'm jaded.
Right.
But my father broke into my house when I was on Father's Day weekend, and broke into my house and stabbed my mother 47 times.
Oh my goodness.
And stabbed me 13.
Oh my gosh.
And when I was a child, and murdered my mother. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's easy to tell, and sometimes it's not. And murdered my mother, and my middle sister was there, and she was able to escape. He stabbed her as well, and she was able to escape and get help. And thankfully, a Kentucky State Trooper was getting off. It was 4:00 in the morning. Thankfully, a Kentucky State Trooper was getting off work at that time and heard the screams for help. And she was able to get him to come help us. The police report says that my mother was gutted like a pig. He took the knife. I'm just going to be blunt with you because I'm a journalist. He took the knife and ran it down her stomach and gutted her. I still have lung issues from so many stab wounds that I have. And Ryan will tell you that I cough all the time because I still have scar tissue in my lungs. At one point, we thought I was going to have a lung transplant because my lungs were so bad.
Wow.
At this age, because of the scar tissue in my lungs, because of the stab wounds. I have nightmares, as you can imagine, because I witnessed that. The news article that they wrote from that day said that it wasn't raining, but the blood drops from, and you can look this up, the blood drops because my mother, you're doing that face that everybody does when I say the story.
Sorry.
It's horrible. It's a horrible story. I'm writing a book. The news article from that night said, because my mother, to save me, she saved my life. To save me, she pushed me out on the top, because we were in an apartment. She pushed me out on the top of an awning to save me from my father. And the blood was dripping so hard that you could hear it dropping. And neighbors thought it was rain. So they thought it was raining. And that's what the report was from the neighbors. And that is in the report. They thought it was raining. So, and that's in the news article. But they caught him, and I spent 2 weeks in the ICU. And when I came out of ICU, I spent like a month recovering with my grandmother, who was not able to keep me. And then after your black father kills your white mother, no one wants to keep you. So they sent me to an orphanage and left me there. No one came. No one saw me.
Oh my gosh.
I was left. So
that is probably just as much or worse scars that you have because of that.
You guys think about the isolation that you've been in COVID. Think about your isolation in COVID and the mental toll that has taken on you in COVID. But as for a 7-year-old, knowing that in my mind, for me, I killed my mom. I've been told that I'm the reason that my mom's dead. I've been shouted at and screamed at. If it wasn't for you, that's what I've been screamed at. Because my sister got to go with my aunt, who was my mother's sister, got to go with my aunt, who eventually came back in my life, but that's a long side story. Sure. But she eventually got to come back in her life, and but I was blamed for my mother's death, and I still carry that weight, But for a 7-year-old to hear that, it's traumatizing. I'm still in therapy.
Right. I can understand that.
As you can imagine, I'm still in therapy for that. But so fast forward, I live in the children's home, and we won't go into the issues at the children's home. I'll just blanket the issues there about the foster care there, because it wasn't necessarily a foster care system. It was a Pentecostal children's home. They prayed over me anytime I was sick. I have a ankle that's jacked up now because I was in a bicycle wreck, and they prayed over it instead of sending me to the doctor. And I run now, but it was broken, and they prayed over it, and it didn't heal. So I'm not giving you a sob story because there's a rainbow at the end of the story. There's a rainbow.
Frustrates me.
So that happened. I mean, I was made to use my toothbrush to clean stuff. Mental abuse, physical abuse. Like I was physically abused, mentally abused, like a lot of bad abuse. Like the fact that I am like even where, like, and I'm not telling you I'm perfect, because I still struggle. I still struggle seriously. Sure. But there's a lot of things that went on at that children's home that I feel like need to be investigated, that if someone would do some digging, that would be good.
Yeah.
But
why do you think that hasn't been done yet?
Because I don't think that anyone who has a voice like I do, and I'm not willing to drag Ryan through that. Because I was in the Facebook group at the children's home and put it on Facebook about it and got kicked out.
Oh, wow.
Because they knew I was right. Yeah.
Goodness.
It was awful. It was awful. We were abused. I was one time, just for an example, I did not do my chores and was locked in a basement to peel potatoes for 5 hours in a room that was about the size of a 3x5 that was so hot that I threw up.
Wow. Like you hear like horror stories of orphanage homes and see Annie and like all that kind of stuff, but like that was legit for you. Like that's not.
Yeah. Oh, it was like I was not allowed to get up and get water.
Oh my gosh.
So I go to sleep with a glass of water, and Ron will tell you this. I go to sleep with a glass of water by my bed every night, and I make sure I am obsessed with having bottles of water in my house. Like the trauma that you have as a child, no matter what your trauma was, like the trauma that I have as a child, you carry on as adult, no matter like my trauma, my story, what your trauma is, like whether it's, somebody did this to you or whatnot, my trauma is real.
Yeah.
Sure. As adults that we care, and that's something that I don't think people deal with very thoroughly. Mm-hmm. As adults, we don't deal with our trauma.
Absolutely.
We just push it under the rug. We need to deal with it. So to this day, I carry water. Ryan will tell you right now, I have 5 bottles of water in my car because I'm afraid of being thirsty.
Sure. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Because I was
as a foster parent, they teach you like sometimes the kids will sneak food up to their room, and then like you'll look under the bed and there's 16 packs of potato chips. Well, once that indicator in your brain goes off to say that you're hungry, you're always hungry all the time.
right.
And you're scared of that, so you stockpile. So just in case if that happens, here comes my potato chips. I'm ready to eat, and they control that.
I keep a bottle of water in my purse.
Yeah.
I keep. If we get on the road, I stop and get a drink. Like I hate. Oh my gosh, I'm scared to death of being thirsty because I was not allowed. I was spanked one time for going to the water fountain.
I'm going to go burn the place down. That's it. All right, ready? You ready to go?
Yes. No, we're not going to burn it down. We're going to just let them rot in hell.
Yeah. Oh, there's that. Is it still open today?
It is.
Oh, yeah. No, we're going to go burn it.
But it's under new management, and they're doing better.
Okay. Well,
they actually had the show there this year.
Okay.
They had KSR there.
Okay.
Yes, and they're under new management, and they're doing much better.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge. Did you go to that show?
I did.
Wow.
I did. And they had me speak, and it was. I didn't speak. No, I was taken back. I didn't speak, and Matt spoke, and I kind of stood in the background. I took my son. I took Josiah, and didn't really want him to see as much as, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him involved. Yeah.
That must have been really difficult for you.
Yeah.
Did you spend all your time in that orphanage, or did you go in the foster care system?
No, I was in the orphanage. Like, I never went into foster care.
Okay.
Like, I was never. I had a doctor family that wanted to adopt me, but my aunt, who would have had rights to me, never signed me away.
Wow. And so you spent your entire childhood in that orphanage.
From 7 until 18. I'm the longest running. And in the state of Kentucky, I'm sure you're a foster parent. You know you have to be adopted after a certain age. Mm-hmm. I was not. I was not.
See, that's the one that breaks my heart. Like, we've got a 9-month-old and a 9-year-old. And when we started going through the process, the thing that really broke my heart was those kids that were 17.
Yeah.
And it's just like they'll never have a home.
No, a family.
Yeah. And that's the
no,
one
I
that
didn't.
rips my heart out.
No.
How did you survive? Like, how did you get through that?
You know what? I don't know how much you believe in God, but I clung to the verse Jeremiah 29:11, and we know that all things work together. I mean, that's Romans 8:28. I just believe that God has a purpose for me.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that God has a purpose for me. Like, if it's this and someone hears this, like, I know that God has a purpose for me. Whether it's those 2 boys upstairs playing video games, or me making sure Ryan Lemon stays on his path, or, God has a purpose for me. I believe that God has an intent for me, and I don't know what his purpose is for me. I don't know what it is, but I think he put me through all those things. There's a little girl that I mentor that I think he has his purpose for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, do you have any questions? I'm going to throw this out to you. Anybody?
Come on,
Mojo.
Christian Leitner. I know you have a question.
Well, I'm an adoptive dad of a biracial kid, so the racial component strikes me.
Yeah.
Also being, I would call Biggun my brother, and watching the foster care system and the brokenness of that.
Right.
My heart weeps for that. It just, oh man. I'll be honest, I'm speechless. I mean, I'm.
That doesn't happen often. I say that.
No, I mean, we all have our here's what I see right here is we all have our levels of hell. It's like pain. It's like pain. When people talk about pain, everyone has their levels of pain that they can tolerate to the point they can't tolerate anymore. Obviously, you're talking about what God has you here for. God has allowed you to endure an enormous amount of pain to build and instill impart some type of wisdom on a lot of people. Even if it's us four knuckleheads tonight on this show, or people may be watching, or the person that you meet tomorrow at the gas station, or the person that you mentor 5 years from now, I think that even though it breaks my heart that you had to spend, and I'm with Biggun. If Biggun, I'll flip in for gas money and drive up to this place to burn it down if I have to with you.
I got matches.
But it breaks my heart. Just the simple things we take, like my wife going the extra mile to crinkle shopping bags right now, or the extra mile to make sure that my 16-year-old daughter has an Easter basket, or spending that Christmas with a family. And you've never had that when you're growing up. It breaks my heart. The world I'm involved in right now, there's a lot of guys and gals in that community that come from broken homes, and it just exposes that. I mean, I had my own childhood trauma too, and I've made that evident on several shows here. It just, you are not, hopefully everyone listening tonight or listening to this episode on the podcast, you're not the worst event of your life. You're so much more than that, and you can overcome that.
Thank you.
And you can be a bigger influence in this world than just that. Those events, it could be a culmination of events. It can be one event, but you are bigger than better than that. God has a purpose. God has perfectly designed and engineered you to be something bigger than that one event. So don't let that one event be the anchor that keeps you down.
The funniest thing is I was talking to a partner of mine tonight who has just now come into my life, and I said, I was just telling her, and she said, well, you seem like you've come from a perfect life. And I said, what if I told you I grew up in an orphanage? And she said, we don't joke about things like that. And I said, I swear to God. And she's like, you're a diva. That would have never happened. And I'm like, no, I swear to God. Because from the outset, people think that because I seem to have it all together, but you never know what people are struggling with. That's why I give so much grace. That person who cuts you off in traffic, or that person who, is cutting you in line, the grace that you provide them, you don't know their struggle. You provide grace to them every day.
Absolutely.
You don't know. And if there's no other message that I provide to anyone, it's provide grace. I mean, you don't know what their struggle is. You don't know if their husband left them that morning. You don't know if their child screamed at them. Provide grace.
Got a diagnosis of cancer, and they're coming home from the doctor. You just don't know.
Right.
You don't know.
Right. How are you doing, by the way? How are you feeling?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm awesome.
You look good, kid. You look.
Thank you.
Other than that Legner stank you got on you.
Well, I'm having to forgive the Kentucky guest, but other than that,
you know what? Other than that Legner stank you got on you, I can smell it all the way through. You look good.
Well, my daughter, my youngest, did get to rub a Duke Blue Devil stuffed animal all over Biggun.
I'm telling you that Legner stank. I can smell it all the way over here.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that, but
I keep telling him you can't spell Duke without UK, and he can't get over that. Right. So
you know what? The way I feel is they were missing letters and they just threw it together.
Amanda, I'm just going back to the fact that and I think I don't know if you need to hear it, but I know that our listeners, somebody has to. You are incredibly loved by the Father. And he never abandoned you.
I know.
He's always been there. And you or my foster kids or whatever, you're not abandoned. Your dad is right there, and he loves you incredibly much. And even though it doesn't feel like it, even though you look at circumstances, his love was poured out on the cross for you. And that is evident, and he is there. And you may, listen, we've got listeners all over the world, and you may agree with that philosophy, but I know that it's true.
No, my faith is huge in everything that I do. And I don't care who I offend by that, but my faith is like I don't care who I offend by my faith, to be honest with you. I don't care who I offend by my faith.
Yeah. So, and for those playing at home, B6, Biggun cries on the bingo board. You can go ahead and mark that off. So
that is,
Or you can message me. If that is not politically correct, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. My faith is what it is. So if you don't believe,
And so
my faith is what it is.
No, there's no doubt about that. I see your posts, so I hear
you see my posts. Yeah, my whole is, my post is what it is. So.
And you mentioned the mentoring aspect of that.
Yeah.
I know you can't go into specific details on the child, but like, how's that going for you? How's that process?
Oh my goodness. So I have so many young women who come to me, like, who are first-time home buyers who, once they get in the house, are like, how do I get my lights on? Okay, now I have the house. How do I get my lights on? So I've got my first bill, okay, now what do I do? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I'm in the house, what do I do? And now I need furniture, and, I want to make sure my bills are paid, and this homeboy, homeboy is kind of trying to get in my house, and, just the whole aspect of making sure the home ownership is there. And I do a vision board every 3 months with folks, with a group. Okay, so set up your vision board. I do that in January and March, and like I do a couple vision boards with people, and every day, I don't even know if he knows this, I do 10 gratitudes and 10 things that I want in my life every day.
Wow.
I do 10 gratitudes every morning when I get up, when I have my coffee. I do 10 things of gratitude, and I do 10 things that I'm going to have in my life every day.
I usually will do that, but it'll be like 10 Reese's cups.
No, my Lord, you're crazy. No, I do that. I do 10 things of gratitude, whether it's simply like, okay, I ran this morning, or I had coffee this morning, or, my kids slept last night, or, I do 10 things of gratitude and 10 things, my goals that I have my regular goals that I'm going to do in this month, and then 10 things that I'm going to do in my life. And one of my goals is I'm going to write a bestseller.
Yeah.
And that's one of my goals. And I'm going to write a bestseller. And I think my life is a bestseller, and I'm going to write a bestseller.
Amanda, can I be one of the first people to buy that book?
You bet. Hey, you know what? I had a person tell me today that they would send it to New York. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I will buy that book. I got Mitch Please. I think I like yours a whole lot better, to be honest with you.
You know what? I have not read a single word. Do not tell Matt about it. He will be there. The day that a couple weeks after Jared died, we sat down with the guy who wrote the article about Jared, and Matt was sitting here, I was sitting here, and the guy was sitting here, and Matt gave his spiel, and they quoted me in the article. It came out. Matt was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "You talk too much.
He does talk too much." I've tried to get Matt on the show. He said he would, and then Jared died, and then we had to reschedule that, and then it's never been.
No, he'll do it. He'll do it. He's
been so busy.
Actually, he's honestly very shy.
Is he?
Yes.
Didn't see that coming.
Ironically, he's very shy. He's very shy.
The introverts unite again. Let's do it.
You know what? I'm gonna leave you with one Matt Jones story. This is for the records, and this is tea.
Okay.
We lived at our house our last house. He comes to our house, brings a girl. This is before Rachel. We're sitting out there. We're all having drinks. You guys drink this, okay? Yeah. We're all having drinks. Drinks start getting flowing. He doesn't drink a lot. He starts drinking. He's got a show. It's the show. It's the game where it kept getting delayed, kept getting delayed,
Oh,
kept
that's right.
getting
Yeah.
delayed, kept getting delayed. Remember
Yeah.
that? Breeze kept flowing, kept getting flowing. Okay, his show was like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
He brought a girl.
Oh.
Brought a girl.
Mm.
So all of a sudden, she takes an Uber. She's gone. Matt's sitting there. He's like, "We're doing the show from here. We're doing the show from here." Okay, they went and got the radio equipment, popped it up right there.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there. You know what? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. We're sitting in pajamas. They're sitting there drinking coffee. Sitting there drinking at 4 o'clock in the morning. Radio show in the house.
That's funny.
No, ridiculous. That's my boy. I love them dearly. They each have their own personality. You know, Drew has this personality that you think that he's like out wild and crazy. He had, you know, for the last year and a half, he has been like just chilling at his house.
Doing puzzles.
Ryan currently is asleep over there. And Matt spends hours upon hours reading books. He and Rachel, when they're together, sit and read books.
Well, that's cute.
No.
No.
No. We're losers.
Yeah.
Unless we're at the bar.
Well, I would love. I told Ryan this last time. Drew was in Charlotte. We're out of Charlotte. Drew was in Charlotte for one time, and one of the regrets I have was not being able to go drink with him one time, and I'll always regret that. But now, evidently, he's just doing puzzles at his house, and so we'll never get that back.
He comes here on Mondays, and he's a germaphobe. So I have to spray everything down and I leave cleaner out to make sure he knows I sprayed it down.
That's funny.
His wife Abby, his fiance, won't even come in our house.
Goodness gracious, 2 peas in a pod, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you guys for letting me chill.
Yeah. How can people get a hold of you if we have any? We do have listeners in Kentucky, so if they want to buy a house, how do they?
Sure.
Give
me a call at 859-619-7575, or that's the best way to reach me. Just give me a shout on my phone.
Okay.
So. But if you guys have any questions about foster care in Kentucky, you know, that's also the best way to reach me. But I know my story sounds horrible at the beginning, but now let me give you God's glory. I am blessed enough that we own real estate, owning a bar, and I have 3 beautiful children. I'm getting ready to venture into a mobile gym. I just talked to a partner tonight about that. So, like, God is good.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
God is good.
You're definitely not the statistic that you were supposed to be according to everyone else.
No, you know what? And I've had people ask me about that. Why did you not lay down and die? Why did you not lay down and die? There's always been a fight in me. There's always been a fight in me because I have 2 sisters and they lay down and died. They just gave it up. They just gave it up. They just said, and they're statistics.
Wow.
And they just gave it up. They just said, we're done. And I chose not to. And you have a choice. Life is about choices. Just like me right now, I can choose to have those cookies Ryan just made. You can choose. Life is about choices.
Yeah.
Well, you
Amanda,
may
thank
not be
so much.
No, thank you guys for chilling with me tonight.
You may be from the wrong state with a good drink, but I really do appreciate your story and pleasure meeting you, hearing you talk. And
yeah. You know what? I have the right drink.
You do have the right drink.
Yeah.
We are.
We're going to meet at some point, and I'm going to get
I'm going to drink some Shine.
The right drink.
I'll bring some Carolina Shine. You bring some Kentucky Shine. We'll meet in the middle.
No, you got to have my Shine. Do you like fruity stuff?
If I have to.
Look what he was drinking.
That wasn't fruity.
Look fruity.
I mean, I'm sure there's a White Claw French vanilla somewhere for you.
Brian has said one word tonight.
He's the strong silent type. He's like the bearded MacGyver. So. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. If you ever need like a strong, independent female, you know what, just like to bounce off with you. I actually know a lot about sports. I just pretend to not be.
Oh, we don't know anything about sports. I just pull for my team.
Obviously.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Amanda, thank you so much. We love you.
Bye, guys. Have a good evening. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Wow. Didn't know that was happening. What a fantastic story.
Wow.
Yeah. I think maybe that's the show title is just wow.
Well, I think I think the biggest takeaway is you see where she's sitting. She's not complaining about having a ankle monitor bracelet on right now because she just committed 3 felonies or she's in a tumultuous relationship. She's someone who's actually figured out how to make the best of her situation. And like she said, she's not a statistic. I mean, like her sisters and stuff were the ones who were the statistic. So I think there's some, I couldn't tell you the path to walk, but I'm telling you that there's a way to do it. And I think she's figured it out in her own story. So that's pretty admirable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shows that there's hope, even though the system seems broken. There's still a chance. You still have a chance if you know if there's a kid in that place and you don't get adopted, you don't get the family. It's up to you, but you can still make a difference.
You don't have to be a victim twice.
Yes.
So
right.
That's good. I think that's we're just gonna wrap up the show on that. Are you guys good with that?
Appreciate you guys tuning in for the show. If you can, please go to our Facebook page at Southern Fried Philosophy. You can also go to our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com. Also, wherever you listen to your podcast, please go there. Search Southern Fried Philosophy, hit subscribe, give us a like, share episodes, give us a review. That's how we move up in the old podcast algorithms. Also, if you haven't done it yet, when the DMV's open back up and you can spread the corona with your bandanas and mask and social distancing, please make sure you register to be a organ donor. That would be mean a lot, and I really would appreciate that. Well, you laughing because I might need an organ?
I'm laughing at the DMV. I'm just thinking that's the one place you think about. Like they lift all the restrictions. Where am I going? I'm going to the DMV first.
That plant, dude. There's North Carolina's set up a little different. We have a license plate agency and a Department of Motor Vehicles. The license plate agencies are independently owned. They're subcontracted by the state. They're not all offices are great. But the one I go to, I bring them a couple boxes of donuts. I slide in, I get my stuff done, pull out, and I'm good. Other states don't have that. You have a travesty of sitting in line with like a petri dish at an ER on a Saturday night after St. Patty's Day or something. It's just brutal.
Wow.
But
I would say like if you have to go to the DMV, that would be the first stop I would make because nobody else is going for one, and that's going to be the cleanest that it's ever been since it opened.
No lines. I walked into the DMV one time. It was on my birthday. I forget. It was 10 years ago or something. I walked in and there was one other person taking a test. And one of the officers walking around swatting a fly or something. There was no one in the building. It was amazing.
I have a secret confession.
Yeah. Okay. It's just us.
Listening.
I failed my motorcycle test, and I have a motorcycle shop.
Wait, now you failed it?
There's no cones around your shop, though, so you should be okay.
I failed the written test, so I currently have.
You're not allowed to be.
I have no motorcycle
right now?
endorsement, so.
Okay. You failed the written test, and you own a motorcycle.
Kind of crazy, isn't
it? Well, how about you?
Rebel without a cause.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. If you're watching us live, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, where it'll be all cleaned up and producer Brian makes it sound real good. Also want to say we didn't get to it, but SFP Headlines. Talk about that.
Yeah. Where did I put that? Yeah, this week we've got LA has a liquor store on wheels. Two men rob a convenience store wearing watermelons as masks. And an Aussie man breaks into a museum to take selfies with dinosaur bones.
Wow.
Among other things.
How about it? Listen, there's a lot of things I could take selfies of.
My big question is, like, someone got a watermelon big enough to put on their head. It's not even like June yet. Where do you get a watermelon that size?
I hate giant fruit.
Right?
I hate it.
That's not natural, man. That's not organic. Right?
Not at all. I hate giant fruit. It frustrates me. Why do you need a 900-pound pumpkin? Why? Just why?
It doesn't make good pie. That's for sure.
You're not going to do nothing with it. All right, guys. Again, thanks for tuning in. If you've listened to the podcast, watch us live. If you watch us live, go listen to the podcast. We appreciate it. And guys, we love you. And as always, have grace and keep looking up.